Coming up, a vandal on the loose at the Lighthouse. Can a periscope help pinpoint the perpetrator?
Cameras at the crime scene. How to catch a criminal with cold, hard evidence. The mysterious case of the mangled mailbox. Can our super sleuths track down the perpetrator?
And disaster on a Dracula movie set. Will a tripwire catch out the cookie thief?
Arr, I want to suck your blood. I'm Dracula.
No, you're not. Jed gets to play that role. Oh, sorry to dent your ego, Steve, but there's a far more serious drama going on in Imogen and Pnina's street, and it involves more than a dented ego. It's a totally crumpled mailbox.
We're on a mission to solve a mystery. Whoa! And there it is. Poor Mrs. Chambers. She got up this morning to discover her mailbox totally flattened. And we're going to find out who did it. I bet someone backed into it last night. It has to be one of our neighbourhood's terrible drivers. And there are 3 obvious suspects. There's doddery old Mr. Watson. Dad says he shouldn't be allowed on the roads. And Miss Goldie, she drives like a maniac. And of course, the wannabe racing car driver, Mr. Schneider. Let's check the mailbox for clues. No car paint left behind. So let's check their cars for dents. None on old Mr. Watson's. Or Miss Goldie's. Or even Mr. Schneider's. So, no obvious clues. But there are lots of insects. Yuck! But maybe they can help solve this mystery. Come on, Pnina, let's get our forensic gear and check the other cars for suspicious bugs.
Some bugs can do superhuman things, like see colours in the dark. Moths, for example, have 3 super sensitive receptors in their eyes, which help them see coloured flowers even in the dimmest starlight.
Old Mr. Watson's car first. There are insects all over it. Look, aren't they cute? Furry little moths. They fly around at night. That's important. We'll save this one for later. See what's on Miss Goldie's car, Pnina? Cool, more moths. She must have been driving last night as well. Now let's take a closer look at Mr. Schneider's car. Ugh, a bug's graveyard. But no moths. That tells us that Mr. Schneider wasn't driving last night, so he couldn't have crashed into the mailbox. He's off the suspect list. That leaves old Mr. Watson and Miss Goldie. And these bugs are going to tell us which one's the reckless driver.
Insects, like moths and flies, are nature's little crime solvers. That's because flies like these can lay eggs on evidence at a crime scene. Experts know exactly how long it takes for eggs to grow into maggots. So, by measuring how big the maggots are, investigators can work out how old they are. That's very important because it tells police how long the evidence has been there. And if they can work out when the crime was committed, they have a much better chance of catching the culprit.
To think that horrible little crawly grubs can help police solve crimes.
Yeah, and even more amazing that some little grubs can turn into moths and beautiful butterflies like this one.
Shay, what's the difference between a moth and a butterfly?
Well, butterflies fly in the daytime and moths fly at night. And when butterflies rest, they fold their wings upright like that, whereas moths lie them flat.
Oh, cool.
And they also have patterns on their wings to frighten off all the animals that might eat them.
Wow, insects are trickier than I thought. I just hope Imogen and Pnina know what to look for.
Someone crashed into Mrs. Chambers' mailbox last night, but we collected dead moths from 2 of our suspects' cars. And we're hoping they'll show us which one's the guilty driver. OK, first let's look at the moth from Miss Goldie's car. It's a light colour and quite smooth. And now the one from old Mr. Watson's car. Well, it's darker and much furrier. Definitely a different variety. This could be the breaker after. Get on the web, Pnina. Yep, old Mr. Watson's moth is a city dweller. That is interesting. But what about Miss Goldie's moth? Ah, it's much rarer. Where does it live? Oh, the mountains. Of course. Miss Goldie always spends the weekends at her parents' cabin. So she stayed in the mountains last night. There's no way she could have run down Mrs. Chambers' mailbox. So she's in the clear. The reckless driver must have been old Mr. Watson.
Congratulations, guys. It was old Mr. Watson who destroyed the mailbox. His eyesight just isn't what it used to be, and using the moths to lead you to the culprit was a brilliant idea. Some insects only live in certain places, so they provide vital clues in helping work out where, when, or how a crime took place.
There's old Mr. Watson now. He's such a nice man. But he is rather clumsy and forgetful. I'm sure he didn't run over the mailbox on purpose. He probably just forgot to put his glasses on. I think that's our hit-and-run mystery solved.
Uh-oh, I wouldn't want to be on the roads when old Mr. Watson's driving around.
Me either. Sounds like a horror movie in the making. Speaking of which...
We're making a horror movie. And this creepy set is just perfect for Dracula Returns. We're shooting scene 4. Starting positions, please. Where a sleeping Charlotte gets it in the neck. Ready? And action! Cut. Charlotte's got the giggles. That's not in the script. She should be terrified. Take 2. And action. Cut. Nope, she's lost it. Tea break, everybody, while Charlotte pulls herself together. Hang on, someone's taking nearly all the cookies. There you go, guys. Oh! And this costume's been taken off the rack. You guys? No. Well, we've had an intruder. But who would mess with our movie? Well, there's Nick. He wanted to play Dracula, but he can't act. Or Spencer. He's always making trouble. Or maybe India Blue, who's desperate to see her name in lights. But which one of them's guilty? Well, you're no help. But luckily, I know exactly what to do. Wait here.
Did you know that Dracula's real name was Vlad III and he was a real prince? He ruled in Romania almost 600 years ago. But he didn't really take people's blood. That's just a scary legend.
Phew. We're gonna catch our cookie thief in the act. We've got our spare video camera and a cunning device to turn it on. When this comes down, it hits a record button. See? Now Jed puts a pin through this hole And it's attached to a tripwire. Good, that'll do it. Okay, so the other end of the tripwire goes across the doorway. Yep, nice and tight. And it's low enough so they won't see it, but are sure to trip it. Let's get back to the set.
How ingenious is this tripwire apparatus, eh?
Very cool.
Look, it's made from 3 rulers, a couple of holes and a little bolt here.
Yeah, and check out the pencil. See, it's got a rubber on the tip of it so it doesn't hit the camera too hard. All you have to do is weigh it down with these washers.
Yep, and if you just chuck that little pin in this hole.
Yes, there we go.
Brilliant. Now give that fishing line tripwire a tug. Bang, onto the camera's record button. See
Very
that?
cool. Now, you can use it for all sorts of things, like seeing which one of your sisters is sneaking into your room and borrowing your clothes.
Yeah, or who's been pinching your bicycle just when you want to use it.
And especially who's been stealing all the catering supplies on the Dracula movie set.
While we were shooting my horror film, some sneaky intruder stole our cookies. But we've rigged up a tripwire that will set our camera recording so that if they return, they'll be caught red-handed. Okay, that's scene 4 in the can. What about our hidden camera? It's recorded something. Let's check it out. Aha! The intruder! Oh, forget Nick and Spencer. That could only be India Blue. We just need to see her face to confirm it. It is her! India Blue, you're busted.
Very clever work, team. India Blue was so desperate to be in Laura-Mae's movie, she just had to try on all the costumes and munch the cookies as she went. But she was caught by an age-old police trick, the tripwire. It's a simple wire attached to a recording device, catching a criminal's actions on film for all to see.
I decided to give India Blue a cameo role. What she doesn't know is that I've changed the script. Ready and action. The vampires approach, and the innocent maiden faints, and keeps fainting, then falls to the floor. She thinks I've come for her blood, but this time it's cookies they're after. And so is the director. Sound familiar, India Blue?
Jessica and I are on a mission to solve a serious crime. The whole harbour is in danger, and they're depending on us. Uncle Jake's the local lighthouse keeper, and he's called us in because last night someone broke into the lighthouse and vandalised it. So we're going to find out who it is. First up, we'll inspect the scene of the crime. Keep coming, Jess. That's terrible. Wires cut and everything. Totally destroyed. But who would have done it? Maybe Johnny Mad Eyes. He loves smashing things up. Or Crazy McGee. He's always wanted to be the lighthouse keeper. He'd love to get Uncle Jake in trouble. Then there's old Captain Long. He can't compete with the younger fishermen and would do anything to stop them going out to sea. Come on, Jess. This is really serious. If we don't solve this soon, the fishermen might crash on these treacherous rocks.
Did you know that ancient Egyptians built the world's first big lighthouse? It was more than 100 metres high. Instead of lights, keepers kept fires going to stop sailors running aground.
First things first. It's not much, but it'll have to do. That'll keep the fishermen safe for now. They can still enter the harbour and avoid those rocks. Oh no! But what happens if the vandal comes back and tries to smash this light? not good. Hang on, I reckon we can use it as bait. All we need to do is hide down here. And if one of our suspects comes back, we'll catch them in the act. But when we're crouched down, we can't see them coming. If only we had a periscope. Hey, why don't we make one? Let's go.
Periscopes are a great way to keep an eye on criminal activity without being seen. This mini submarine has one. The periscope sticks above the water, and the mirror in the top bounces what it sees down to the cameras inside the sub. Those cameras transmit pictures to shore using the radio aerial. And if there's any suspicious activity, police are called in to investigate. That's amazing. And so is Claire and Jessica's idea to build a periscope. That way you can keep watch without being seen yourself.
Hey, Steve, I don't want to seem silly, but how does a periscope work?
Well, you need 2 mirrors,
Right.
just like these ones. You hold one at 45 degrees facing the thing you want to look at.
Okay, 45 degrees?
Yep. Because when the light comes in sideways like this,
Yeah.
the mirror bends it at right angles, 90 degrees downwards.
Aha!
Yes, and the second mirror bends the light towards you.
Okay, so if I just hold it like this, it works!
Yeah, what can you say, Shay?
Well, it looks like Claire and Jessica are well on their way to solving this horrible crime.
Somebody broke into Uncle Jake's lighthouse and vandalised it. We've put up a replacement light to warn boats away from the rocks and to lure the culprit back to the scene of the crime. Come on, Jess. Back into the lighthouse. When we've made our periscope, we'll know for sure who we're after. Johnny Mad Eyes, Crazy McGee, or old Captain Long. We take a long cardboard box, then mark and cut a 45-degree angle at one end. And another at the other end. Now stick 2 mirrors on 2 pieces of card. And slide them into our angled slots. One at the bottom, one at the top. And hey! It works a treat. We'll see our vandal for sure. Okay, now we can watch without being seen. Looks like the coast is clear. Hey, someone's coming. It's Crazy McGee with a hammer. He's coming to destroy our light as well. Quick, take a photo to show the police. Smile, Crazy McGee. You've been caught red-handed.
He sure has, girls. Crazy McGee did vandalise the lighthouse. He was trying to make Uncle Jake look bad, so he crept in at night and smashed the light, which meant the whole town's fishing fleet was grounded. But thanks to the girls' quick action and ingenuity, he was caught out. Periscopes work because light is reflected at an angle when it hits a mirror. Light coming in at the top is bent downwards when it hits the 45-degree angle mirror. The mirror at the bottom also bends light at the same angle, so the image is reflected straight into the observer's eye. It's the perfect piece of kit for a seafaring crime fighter.
Now that Crazy McGee's been put behind bars, we can lie back and relax. But it's nice to know that we can still keep an eye on Uncle Jake and his lighthouse.
Hey, those girls are really on the job, even on their holiday.
But they're not the only ones taking their duties seriously. Jake and Finley have been left in charge of getting the house cleaned up before Nana and Pop arrive.
But have you ever noticed that something always seems to go wrong at the last minute?
Mum and Dad have gone to pick up Nana and Pop. And Finley and I are getting the place spick and span. Pack these cups away. Last one. And we're done. Thank goodness. Nice job. Oh, what? More mess? Looks like someone's been enjoying themselves. Oh man, more cleaning. Who would have left it looking like this? It could only be one of the girls. Paige, Alyssa, or Ariana. All three leave junk wherever they go. But how do we find out which one? I know. The camera. We'll find our culprit with photographic evidence. Grab a pen and paper. Right, you label the evidence while I photograph it. Every scrap of evidence is captured for closer inspection. Let's tidy this mess up before the oldies get here.
The first camera was invented in Persia 1,000 years ago. Called a camera obscura, it was a dark box with a convex lens in front. Sadly, there was no way to record the photos.
Now for some crime solving. Anything? Not yet. I'm going to leave this with Finley while I follow another line of inquiry. There might be something of interest in the trash. No. Just ordinary old rubbish. No. Nothing suspicious. But it looks like Finley's onto something. He spotted a gold candy wrapper. Didn't the girls get a whole stack of candy recently? Yeah. So, find the stash of gold candies and we've found our culprit.
Wow, I'm beginning to see why photographic evidence is so important at crime scenes.
Yeah, me too. Because when I first saw the culprit's mess, I didn't notice that little gold wrapper.
Yeah, no, me either. But when you look back over the photo, you've got the perfect image of all the tiny bits of evidence just as the culprit left them.
Which brings me to my photo of you, Stephen.
Shay, why? I told you I'm not a criminal.
No, but you do have a very suspicious look on your face.
Yeah, I sure do. I was suspicious about what you were up to.
Well, I call it a healthy suspicion, Steve, just like Jake and Finley's.
We suspect one of the girls left a hideous mess. A review of the images revealed one suspicious-looking gold candy wrapper. First, we'll search Alyssa's room. Well, it's definitely a mess. But are there any gold candies? Nah, nothing. Looks like Alyssa's off the suspect list. Let's go check out Paige's room. Whoa, we've got candies all right. And gold ones. But a different wrapper. So Paige is in the clear too. That only leaves Ariana. And there she is, down at the Covey house. Hey Finley, she's leaving. Let's go check it out. Whoa, we struck gold candy wrappers and a bowl full of candy. Do the wrappers match our photo? They sure do. We've found our messmaker.
You sure have. For one small girl, Ariana can make one mighty big mess and isn't very good at cleaning up after herself. But Jake and Finley's idea of capturing photographs of the crime scene, then later reviewing them, is a great way of making sure no vital evidence gets lost. At real crime scenes, investigators take pictures of everything before touching or moving a single piece of evidence. That way, they can keep going back to look at the evidence exactly where it was left until the case is solved.
Well, we showed our evidence to Mum and Dad, and they passed down the verdict. Ariana has to do all our chores for a whole week. I think our cleaning days are over.
Well, you can't accuse those guys of going easy on grime.
No way. One crime solved and one crime scene as good as new.
In that case, our work here is done.
See you next time.